Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. I want to thank you for being with us. Bombshell tonight. In the last hours, teen idol, multimillionaire, multi-platinum seller Justin Bieber in a U.S. court of law. We are taking your calls straight out to Bonnie Fuller, president and editor-in-chief of HollywoodLife.com. You know what? Granted, Bonnie, he is just a 19-year-old. Got to keep that in mind. The thing about the booze, all right, he failed to field sobriety test. He bragged to cops that he was smoking pot, high on pot, doing weed all day long, that he was using prescription drugs. What bugs me the most is that he spews the F-bomb at the cop over and over and over, and he's in a residential neighborhood drag racing. That's like being out in front of your house, Bonnie Fuller. Your house at 4 a.m. driving 60 miles an hour? Hello?
Well, this is absolutely not good. It is terrible behavior. I don't care whether he's Justin Bieber or any 19-year-old or anybody for that matter. I think the combination of drinking, smoking weed, taking whatever prescription drugs he took, and then getting in a car and drag racing, going twice the speed limit, it's not good for him. It's dangerous to himself. He endangered others, and it's certainly not going to be good for his image or his career.
Deborah Roberts joining me, anchor with Florida News Network. Deborah, this is 4 a.m. in a Miami residential area. The speed there is 30, 35 miles an hour. And Bieber's posse had actually blocked off the road with black SUVs so he could drag race with some guy, Crazy Khalil with Def Jam Records, drag racing at 4 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's high. Everybody's drunk. This guy's on prescription drugs as well. What more do we know? Why did the cop get so angry at him, Deborah Roberts?
Well, you know, my question, Nancy, is the person that they really should have gotten angry with, and in my opinion arrested, even though Justin may be 19 and legal age, was that Justin's 38-year-old father, Jeremy, was part of that crew that helped block off that residential street so his drunk and high 19-year-old son could drag race a friend.
You know, that part is way over the top, that the father is there on the scene when this is going down and actually helps cordon the street off with black SUVs out to the lines. Cindy. Hi, Cindy. What's your question?
Hi, I'm calling from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, which is a half an hour away from him. He has too many yes men around him and not enough strong-willed non-enablers to say, listen, this is what you're doing is wrong. And for his mom and dad to sit there and try to make the excuse that he's a teenager. I have a 23-year-old daughter who pays her own bills and lives in her own house, and I still step in when I know that she's doing wrong and say, hey, what are you doing? His parents need to stop living off of his coattails.
Cindy,
Yes?
Cindy, this doesn't look to me like it's going to change because his father's the one blocking the traffic so the son can drag race. I mean, how much good is he?
Because his father's living off of his son's coattails. Stop living it off of your son's fame and pull in the rails and give your son some parenting.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I keep trying to give him a break because he's 19 years old. That's still a juvenile. But, well, under the law, it's not. But the reality is
not
this.
In Canada.
If he had run over somebody, Cindy, it wouldn't have mattered if he was 19 or 99. If there had been a kid out in that street, you know how people get up early in the morning and they go jogging before they get ready for work, before they even make breakfast for their walk their dogs, the works. And he's out there going 60 miles an hour while he's high and drunk out of his gourd.
I'm a widow because of a drunk driver. I was a widow at 25 because of a drunk driver. And come on, he has little brothers and sisters. What are you doing? What is his parents doing?
Out to Bonnie Fuller, president and editor-in-chief of HollywoodLife.com. Bonnie, is this going to go the way of Lindsay Lohan and Paris Hilton and all the rest of them that break the law, break the law, break the law, break the law, and do a night behind bars, and that's it?
Well, let's hope not. First of all, we've heard at Hollywood Life that the fact that he was arrested in Miami, in Florida, is actually significant. Apparently, he will face a tougher treatment than if he was arrested in California, where the jails are crowded, and also where there seems to be more leniency towards celebrities. And in fact, the mayor of Miami has said that he wants to make an example out of Justin Bieber. Now, I think that's unfortunate because I do think that Justin does have a chance to turn this around, despite the fact that his father was there. He's done a lot of good in the past, and he's clearly off in the wrong direction right now.
You know what, Bonnie? I appreciate what you're saying, that he's done good in the past, but this is not just egging a house. This is not just urinating in a bucket in public. This is not a little bit of graffiti or sending Selena Gomez pictures of his private parts. All right, this is endangering people in the kind of neighborhood where everybody wants to live. You know, the quiet neighborhood with grass in the front yard. And there's the dad egging him on. We are taking your calls out to Bernadette. Hi, Bernadette. What's your question?
Hi. I have a 7-year-old that thinks the world of him, and he needs to start setting a better example because he's a role model to all the young children. And he needs to keep in mind that he's not an ordinary 19-year-old. Like, he has a responsibility to his young viewers. And I was wondering, is he going to be adult enough to apologize to all these young children?
Highly doubtful, unless his PR people can extract some control over him. All right, joining me right now, the president of National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws, Norm Kent, out of Fort Lauderdale. Also with me is Jeff Van Nonderden, board-certified interventionist, also featured on A&E series Intervention. To both of you gentlemen, welcome. All right, Norm Kent, here you go. Basically, in your backyard, there you've got somebody high on weed drag racing. But according to you, it's okay to lay around the house all day long and get high. Don't you think people have to leave the house sometimes? He's on pot. He admits to the police he's on pot. He's 19.
Actually, the only sane thing he may have done during the course of those 24 hours is smoke a joint. He is a victim here. He is being victimized not only by the press, but let's look at this from your prosecutorial light. He starts out with a police escort from the Opelika police. The crew blocks off the street from him. Some bar or alcoholic beverage establishment sells him liquor that he's not allowed to have. Somebody rents him a car he shouldn't have because he's unlicensed. Everybody is using him the way they used Michael Jackson, and it's time somebody stood up and spoke up for Justin Bieber. The Bieb is being
Norm
brutalized.
Kent, you have just blamed everybody but the guy behind the wheel that's drunk and high. Okay, Jeff Van Vonderen, I want to get that correct. Explain.
Van Vonderen.
Thank you. Jeff, I'd like to hear a response to Norm.
Well, I mean, I think that Norm's response is those who don't want to hold people accountable for their actions and end up being addicts. And this is what I've been dealing with for 30 years. You know, the thing is that with him, first of all, it was illegal for him to, I'm sure, it was illegal for the bar to serve him that.
Hold on, Jeff, you're cutting out on me. In the meantime, I want to bring back in Norm Kent and Bethany Marshall, psychoanalyst and author of Deal Breakers. Bethany, as I'm listening to Norm Kent go on and on, he is blaming the police that welcome Bieber and give him an escort to start with in Florida, the place that sold the booze, the nightclub that he was at, I can't remember the name of that, Set nightclub, and everybody around him. Now, you know what? That defies every piece of logic, every bit of logic about self-determination I've ever heard.
And you know what? How your guest is talking is just how addicts think. They blame everybody but themselves. They notoriously lack insight into potential negative consequences of their actions. And what we really are seeing about the Bieb, as we saw about Charlie Sheen and Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, all of these other stars, is that nobody wants to rein them in. Everybody's on the gravy train.
So, Norm,
Everybody's
why are you
benefiting.
blaming everybody but Bieber?
Actually, ultimately, he's the one that's going to stand naked before the cannon and before a court of law.
I don't even know
have
what
to
you're saying.
apologize
Naked
for
in
his
front of a
acts.
cannon. What are you talking about?
Norm is
Hey,
making
Well,
you
it's
know
an
what?
analogy,
I think you're
Nancy.
high.
He's the individual
Naked in front
who
of
will
a
have.
cannon.
Yes, don't you remember Tiananmen Square when a courageous young student stood up against the
So
Chinese?
you're
What I'm
comparing,
saying,
whoa, you're comparing Bieber, who's drunk and high and drag racing in somebody's front yard, to the guy that risked his life in Tiananmen Square.
I understand those are the allegations.
Now I know you're high on pot, man, to compare
You know what?
Bieber to
Actually,
that.
Nancy, I could
Norm,
not get high enough to do a show with you, but the truth is that this young
You're
man.
stone cold sober then, aren't you? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Nancy, this young man will ultimately face a court of justice. But in the court that we.
In the meantime, people like you.
No, think about how many people are unduly influencing him, unjustly creating a situation for him that never should have happened. Like
Okay,
Michael
I've got
Jackson, he's
Van
being
Vogler
abused
again.
by his managers.
Norm, nobody's influencing him. The problem is that nobody's stopping him. That's the problem. The fact is he is having no negative consequences to his actions.
Okay, I think I've got Jeff back. All right, Jeff, weigh in while I've got a clear satellite with you. Go ahead.
Well, this is very typical, you know, and the thinking is the problem's not the problem. Noticing the problem is the problem. Talking about the problem is the problem. And so that lets Bieber off the hook. But basically, you know, if this guy's right and Bieber's so weak that he can be unduly influenced by all these people, then he shouldn't be using alcohol or pot anyway.